Hi there. Now we're moving on to section 2 of chapter 4, eating disorders. There's all types of eating disorders. People think, well, what's the big deal? You know, you eat, you don't eat, or you eat too much, or you don't eat too much. Well, that could be a health factor to you, of course, physically, but it's usually a emotional disorder. It's a mental disorder. So anorexia nervosa, that's pretty much when someone's starving themselves. They do not want to eat. And there's health risks involved with that. You can have heart problems. You can have kidney issues. You can have intestinal issues. Multitude of problems with like physical problems regarding anorexia nervosa. Sometimes when people have an eating disorder, think about like if you go to like a town fair, you know, and they have all those games and the I'm thinking of here, the games and all the like fun house things, right? You have like roller coasters and stuff like that, and they have that fun house where you go into their house and the floors change and stuff like that, and you look into a mirror, and that fun house mirror is distorted, right? It may make you look like really tall or really skinny or really, oblong or look like a different shape. Well, a lot of times when people have eating disorders, they view themselves in the mirror in a totally different way. Kind of like, remember when we did that handout regarding the mirror and how I had you guys view yourself, rated yourself? Well, for people who have eating disorders, they only see one way. You know, you could like be really healthy, but if you're viewing yourself as, and I'm not good enough, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm too tall, I'm too this, you're putting yourself down all the time. You're not seeing yourself the way others see you. So when you are going through an eating disorder, again, it is a mental condition based on, how you are feeling about yourself. So mental/emotional, okay? I've had many teammates in college, that I ran in college, and that had eating disorders. For some reason, some of my teammates would think, as a distance runner, most of us distance runners are lean, okay? And because we run 30 to 40 miles a week, you're able to eat a lot of food and then burn it off, of course. But there are some teammates of mine that thought, well, for every second they needed to drop in the time that they wanted to achieve, they had to drop the pound. So I had a teammate that literally was like, it was very skeletal. It was very scary. And to the point where, people were talking about her. They were worried about her. They kind of didn't want to be around her. And honestly, she lied. She snuck around. She's, I'm going to the bathroom. But then she would, puke up her food, stuff like that. Or she wouldn't eat. She would make excuses, a abundance of things. And it's really sad because you are literally killing yourself, all because you think you have to be a certain weight. In her end, she thought she had to be a certain weight to reach a certain time. It's very sad. So when you're moving on to reading more about eating disorders, you're going to roll into also the next part of section 2 regarding bulimia and binging and purging. You will be, I'm looking at my notes here, so bear with me, please. I want to make sure I'm saying the correct things to you guys. When you are bulimia, so that person can look like you and I. The person is not as noticeable if someone who's anorexic. If someone who's anorexic will look gonk, like a skeleton, and their shoulders and collarbones will be protruding out. A lot of times people who are anorexic will also wear baggy clothes to hide it. But someone who's bulimic can look like anybody. And of course, the person who's bulimic can be male or female. There's males that can be anorexic and have eating disorders and bulimia. I had a friend in high school. He was a wrestler, and I'm not saying all wrestlers are like this. He literally would, spit in a cup every day so he could make the weight. And he ended up having to go to the hospital because of binging and purging. And, and after he would weigh in, he would eat a lot of food, and then he would feel guilty and feel sad and upset that he ate too much, and he was afraid he wasn't going to wrestle really well, and then he would throw it up. So bulimia, there's a lot of risk factors as well as bulimia, but I want you to understand that you can be both. You can be anorexic and bulimic. You can alternate at times. So, it's really affecting your internal organs, your heart, your blood, your liver, everything. Of course, it's affecting your mental well-being. All right. So again, bulimia is, again, a person who will eat an abundance of food and then will get rid of it. There was, I'm sure I talked about like my teammates in college. There was a girl who was bulimic, and if you looked at her, you would never think it because she looked healthy, but she would hide her food. Um, she would hide her food in her dorm room and then also in her bedroom at her house, and it was really gross because, you know, rumor had it, and again, I don't know, but this is what was told to the team, that she carved out like a little bit of the drywall behind her bedroom, her backboard of her bed, and she would throw up her food, put it in a Ziploc bag, and I'm not lying. This is the truth. This is like basically pretty much what my coach told us because he doesn't want us to, fall into this category. She would throw up in the bag, the little Ziploc bag, zip it up, or whatever, however you close it, and put it in that little hole of her wall and close it up. Her parents had no idea. They didn't know about it until they're like, what is this rancid smell? What's going on? And then they found out things were happening with their daughter. And then she confessed to what she was doing. She would hide her food because for some reason in her mind, getting rid of it by throwing up, she wanted to keep it because she felt guilty and shameful. So again, whole bunch of mental issues going on there regarding that. And again, it's control. Having an eating disorder, you want control. So maybe you are expected to be perfect all the time, or make that weight, or look beautiful in that swimsuit or gymnastic outfit, or just in general how, I don't know, social media wants you guys to filter everything. I mean, right now I don't look perfect. I got problems. I have wrinkles. I'm getting old, whatever. You have to just accept yourself, and do the best you can. But for some reason, our society thinks that everybody has to be polished to the max. Like, your hair has to be perfect. You can't have any acne. All these filters. I mean, really, is someone looking that great on social media? I doubt it. So again, it's the power of control. And if that person doesn't have control of their grades or their home life, or, of things that are happening in their life, they want to get some kind of control. So therefore, he or she will get control of their food or lack of. Binging and purging is extremely dangerous. Over-compulsive eating is extremely dangerous. Obesity is extremely dangerous. So if you're an over-compulsive eater, that can roll into obesity. And America is not healthy at all in the sense of eating. Everything is supersized, and you think you have to eat that whole plate. Well, you don't. Your stomach is the size of your fist. Okay, so if you're done eating, you're full, then you're full. If you want to eat multiple small meals throughout the day, do that. I eat all day. I don't just have breakfast, lunch, dinner. I eat all day. I have all kinds of food in my lunch bag. Yes, I'll have sometimes pizza, or hey, if I'm at a birthday party, I'll have some cake. Okay, but again, you don't want to be over compulsive. You don't want to restrain yourself. If you want something that's going to taste good, a little sweet, fine. But if you feel guilty behind it in the sense that you want to throw up, that's not healthy for you, okay? So you have bulimia, binging and purging, over-compulsive eating disorder. That, I don't recall if that's in your book, but that is the eating disorder, over-compulsive eating disorder. So you are constantly eating all the time. Also, the fact that, morbid obesity is huge in young kids as well as adults. That can be a huge factor in all aspects. But if you look at the big scheme of things when it comes to any form of eating disorder, it's a lack of self-esteem. It's a lack of self-worth. It rolls into having control of something. If you can't control your life, your grades, if someone likes you or doesn't like you, or how social media thinks you need to be, well, then you're going to try to control your eating or not eat. I mean, you need to get help for that because you can literally die. All right. Down the road, you're going to be reading a story, a real life story. It's called Caitlin's Story. And she was a former babysitter of mine. So I'll talk more about that later regarding Caitlin's story. But right now, once you finish section 2, you'll be doing those section questions. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.